Hello, my name is Robert Frazier. I'm the linebacker coach here at Rutgers University, and I want to thank you for this opportunity to talk a little bit about how we teach read progressions and some of our individual drills, how we teach the basic skills that we're going to need to be successful from week to week to week as we play linebacker here at Rutgers. The first thing that we start at is with stance and starts. Stances, we want good bend in our ankles, knees, and our hips. We want our chest out, hands hanging down in front of us, okay? And you can see that we start in a good football position, and when we call our stance, we call it football position, okay? We want the knees within the framework of our body, feet shoulder width apart. You can see we have a good bend. Our chest is out, hands hanging down in front of us, and our head is up. Okay, and you could do this drill on the line, going across where everybody's looking at you. Just get them in a good stance, tell them to relax, back in a good stance, tell them to relax, back in a good stance. Okay, and then the next part of the progression is we're going to start with the first step. The last thing about stance is when you're a linebacker off the ball, I think it's a little different stance than we'll talk about here in a minute when you're a linebacker on the ball. Contact isn't going to happen right away, so it can be a little bit higher. It just wants to be comfortable. You want to be in a position where you can move in every direction without taking a false step. The next part of the progression is once we're in a stance and we feel comfortable getting in and out of our stance, all right, the next thing we'd like to do is just start out with the first step. So what you want is a coach in front of their players, all right, and then he's going to take a step in all different directions, and the players will mirror that step in the same direction, the same angle that he's going. And this way you could get them they could feel comfortable. The step doesn't want to be too long. Shoulders want to be always square to the ball, okay? And one of the things as we take a look at the stances and the steps of these guys, we want to make sure that their feet aren't too wide for the simple fact what will happen is now they'll step under themselves when they start to make their first movement. Okay, the next part of the progression, we also have a linebacker that plays on the tight end, and we want to talk about the stance in that guy also. Stance is the same, except this is what I say: because contact is going to happen right away, we want to get him just a little lower. His hands still want to be hanging down in front of him, and he wants his knees within the framework. He wants bend in his ankles, knees, and waist, head up. All right, we are going to key the ear hole of the tight end. Okay, so we're going to look to the ear hole. Now, the thing that we start the same way that we would as a linebacker off the ball. We're going to start with just one step, and the first step is the base block. All right, and where the guy's going to step straight at us. In that situation, we want to explode our hands. We're going to take a step, explode our upper body into the guy. We want our hands and eyes through our aim point. In this situation, our outside hand will go through the armpit area. The inside hand will go to the sternum. Okay, our eyes and hands want to go through our aim point, which is the number. Okay, so right there we want to keep our hands tight, explode through. Now get separation, put our eyes there, because that will put our helmet underneath his helmet. And when our helmet's underneath his helmet, we're more than likely going to win. If his helmet's underneath our helmet, we're more than likely going to lose. Okay, so that's what we talk about there. And then we want to incline press. You want to roll your hips by hang clean and then incline press him away from us. Keep our feet moving in small steps. Get in what we call in controlled position, where our hands are finished above eyes. We're in a football position. The offensive blocker is standing straight up out of his power angles, and now we'll find the ball down and around through our gap to get to the ball. Once we find the ball, we will violently shed the block and go make the play. So the first one's a base block. The second one we do is just one step is a reach block, and you can see that we're mirroring the guy over us, and it's just one step, and our hands come, all right? The third one is a down block, and when we get a down block, what we say is we want to step to square. We want our hands still want to explode, step to square, shuffle to that double team of the down block, and our vision wants to expand. If we see a fullback or backside guard coming at us, we are going to wrong arm it. If we see a front side guard or tackle, we're going to stay outside and play it like a reach block. Okay, and the last release that you could get, or the fourth release the fourth thing that could happen to you is you got to get a pass block. And one of the byproducts is you can see is us being fairly wide in our alignment. Is the tight end sees a lot of green in front of him, feels that he doesn't have to head and shoulder fake, so he's going to release right now. We want to get our hands on him, and then we want to be in a position where we want to be on what we call low shoulder outside, where we want to be bent elbows length away. We want to be just underneath him, so if he breaks out, now we could break out to his outside shoulder. If he breaks in, we're going to be underneath him, and we're going to run and beat him to the spot. Keeping our eyes on him, never looking back since it's a man-to-man coverage, but we were going to beat him to the spot. All right, and then we'll just go and we'll just do it more aggressively. Now we'll just go full speed and now get them going, and you can see this isn't really the speed that we want. But we want to just now get the different looks, get them full speed, and get the different blocks that we will see. All right, now the reach block. When we get to reach block, what we talk about is we want to post a play, so we don't want that thing to run to the sidelines. We want to get as deep as the ball as soon as we possibly can. We never want to go deeper than the ball. And once we get the ball to cut back, now we are going to shed again the block and get to where we got to go. Now on a down block, again we talked about shuffling, step to square, shuffling down to the double team. All right, now here comes something at us. We are now going to spill or wrong arm a backside guard or fullback. In this situation, the fullback's coming at us. We're taking our outside arm and we're going to explode it through his midline, and then our next step is going to explode up the field, be ready to make a play or take out the backside guard. Don't let him get around to block the linebacker on the power play. So that's how we are going to play the kick out by the fullback or the backside guard. And then the last thing we talked about is the pass. You could see we want bent elbows length away. We want to be right on his back shoulder, and we want to be reading his hips. We want to read his hips for hips high, hips low. When his hips are high, we know he's running. When his hips start to sink, we know he's going to make a break inside or outside. When his hips dip, our hips dip, and we're ready to break with him. We'll mirror the path at which he goes. All right, the next part of the progression is you can see that we're gonna set up the drill with garbage cans because we don't always have enough bodies to give us the number of people that we need to simulate an offensive line. And then the red bags simulate the defensive linemen, so the linebackers know where the open gaps are. We add two backs, and now we are just going to get them reading the flows of the backs. The first flow is we call tight. Tight, we're going to mirror the angle of the fullback. Fullback's downhill. The linebackers are downhill. The 44, the middle one, he's inside out. 34 is outside in. and 51 is the cutback, which is the B gap, unless he gets guard pull, and then he goes to the front side A. So again, we're just going to mirror the path of the backs and get a feel for how we read flows of the backfield. All right, the second one will be tight angle with the fullback going a little bit wider. Again, we're going to mirror the path of the fullback, and you can see that the linebacker is going to fit where they need to fit, get a feel for the different flows and which way they go. So this way, now you can start just working with a simple thing. You started with a one-back, the tailback in the first step. Now you've progressed to the tailback and fullback, and get a feel for that. So again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them to expand their vision from one stimulus to two stimuluses to the next thing we'll go to is three stimuluses. Okay, this is tight to the split end side, and with tight to the split end side, what we want to do is we'd want just to mirror the fullback again. You can see 51 goes too wide. He'd want to play outside the fullback. 44 would want to play inside fullback, and now 34 would want to be the cutback player. He's going to run through the A gap unless he gets guard pull, which way he'll come over the top. Okay, so that's the next step in the progression. We put two backs to start expanding their vision. Okay, the third part of the progression is now we add. Not only do we have two backs, but now we add two offensive guards. So as we're keying to the tailback and fullback through the offensive line, now again we're teaching our players how to expand their vision and what they're looking at. So we add a third stimulus, the offensive line, and how we're going to react with the flows should take care of it. Okay, again, we have tight A, B, and you can see the guards are going to block to where you want just the guards to block where they want to. Still should fit the same way. All right, the outside guy is outside the fullback, 44 is inside the fullback, 51 is the cutback, run through B gap. Okay, and they still should fit the same way, but now you just added another stimulus. Now you could see on the wide here when we get tight and the fullback goes a little wider, we 51 now his cutback goes from the B gap to the front side A gap, which he's going to run through. He's going to run through the front side A gap and flow over the top once it's no longer a threat. And then the two other linebackers just going to mirror the path of the fullback, whether they fit inside or outside the fullback, depending on what coverage and what defensive front we're in, will depend on how they fit that particular flow. And so that's how we start. We start with just one guy in the backfield, just get them filled with one step, add two backs in the backfield, and then add two backs with the offensive line, and so they could get a feel for that. And so that's how we progress in our reads for our linebackers. All right, the next drill that I'd like to talk about is just talk about the feeding blocks, okay? The first thing I want to talk about is ripping over a combo block or a double team, okay? In a lot of our defenses, we rip blocks, we rip over top of blocks and come downhill, okay? As you can see, we're in a stance, we're coming downhill, all right, we're running, and at this point in time, when we get into that contact zone, as you can see right here, what we want to do is we want to get to a position we're running back into a football position, and the football position, you can see he wants to get a base, so he wants to step to a base where now he could explode same foot, same shoulder through the outside portion of the guard, and now get ready to make a play on the tailback. All right. But if he doesn't step to get a base right there, step right here to get a base, he'll have nothing brace himself once he explodes with his inside leg and inside shoulder, all right? And he'll get just washed over. So he wants to, in the contact area, we always want to get back into a football position, which means that we're going to get a base, we're going to lower our center of gravity so we could explode through the offensive guard. This also could be exploding over top of a guard and tight end, depending on a power play. So that is one of the ways that we dip and rip, use the rip technique to get over top of a double team block. The next thing you can see here again, this is a lead play. He's going to dip and rip. He wants to stay as tight as possible. In this situation, you can see where he doesn't get a nice base, where he cannot get square and explode up through to the tailback. All right. The next one we're going to rip is the outside guy. In a power, we're going to come down and we're going to rip, scrape for skin off of the tight end's double team. The Sam linebacker is going to spill the fullback, and the Mike linebacker will now come around to take on a guard. And what we want to do is we want to rip through his outside half. We want to make sure that ball goes back inside of us, okay? And we're going to take on that. We're going to take on that guard trying to kick us out. We're going to explode through him, and we're going to make sure the ball goes back inside of us, right there. So those are the two times when we talk about the feet and blocks that we're going to rip. One time is over top of the double team. The next time we're going to rip through the outside portion of the guard to the tailback on a power. And you can see this is a very good play right here. He's going to explode back. He wants to either make the play or make sure that ball goes back inside of him to his help. The next drill I'd like to talk about is a drill we set up for just working on our zone drops and our different coverages. As you can see, we set the drill up. With two linebackers, a coach being a quarterback, and you can set the receivers pretty much any place you want. In this one, we want a check down receiver, which would be 33. We want two wide receivers outside the hash. We want them 12 yards deep or deeper than our drop. Our drop in this situation is going to be 10 yards, all right, just inside the hash, okay? And what you could do is you could work on your different drops. So once the linebacker reads pass, the quarterback could give a 3, 5, 7-step drop. On a 3-step drop, you're going to start to your drop. You read the ball up high, seated, ready to throw right now. You are going to pause, and then you're going to get ready to break out right now to the 3-step. Once he gets a 5-step drop, you want to get set. When a quarterback sets, he gets a 5-step drop, and now you want to read the shoulders of the quarterback. All right, he's set, you're set. All right, our linebacker should be set at this point in time. He's given hard directional to the left in this situation. The linebacker 54 to the right should be set, and he should now start to be moving to as we're looking at it, to his right or left as we're looking at it. He never wants to overrun a check down, so he wants to come as far as the check down, but he never wants to overrun the check down. Now once the hand leaves the ball, we should be breaking. Okay, if you're not breaking when the ball leaves the hand, you're probably going to be too slow. Now, the number one factor of us not getting turnovers is we don't get our hands together as defenders and catch the football. Okay, but now we want to break. We want to break laterally to the ball, take it, and be able to make a good interception. All right, again, here goes another situation where we just got 3 receivers going across. Our linebackers got their drops. Quarterback sets, I'm set. He gives hard directional to here. We should see 17 start to drift over to his right. 53 does drift over, hands off. Here he goes. He should be, and you need a quarterback who can throw the football. Again, you got the drill. And the whole thing about the drill, The whole thing about the drill, as it's set up, you could set the receivers anywhere you want. If you got a check down in the middle, two receivers. What we're trying to do is get our drops, get set with the quarterback, read his shoulders, hard directional, and then be able to backside melt with it, front side be able to break on it. And what we talk about is we read the shoulders path of whether they're tilted up, whether they're tilted down, being able to break downhill, whether turn and break deep. Okay, the tilt of the shoulders will give you the depth. The direction, the angle of the shoulders will give you the direction, and that's the number one thing we're trying to work on in this drill. All right, and you can see they get a nice, they melt, they get a nice drop, and now they're catching, tucking away when we talk about getting up the near sideline. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is the progression of how we teach our man-to-man, man-free coverage with our linebackers. Number one, the number one thing we just start simple drill is one-on-one. The outside linebacker versus the tight end, the two inside linebackers versus the running backs. Okay, here we get a pass release. We want to cover him. We want to be outside low shoulder. We want to read his hips. He breaks out. Okay, we want to break out with him. We want to get to that outside shoulder. Okay, in this situation, we do not want to look for the ball unless we can lean into him. Okay, and then leaning is basically putting our body on body and then finding him. All right, you could see that we see him looking, we start to look, and now we get separation right here. We're going to lose the ball, get separation. He's going to catch it. We're not going to be able to make the play. Unless we could leave our body and we have body-to-body contact, we say don't even look for the ball. We'll play through the hands and strip it as he's catching it. But right there, as he starts to look, he starts to lose separation. That's where most receptions in man-to-man coverage are caught. All right, then we just go to the running back, and it's very important when you're covering man-to-man, especially on an outside route. You want to come and press the hip as much as possible. It's just like a tackle. You want to take away one of the goes, and you want to force him to the outside or up the field. You do not want to let him come back inside you. So you want to press the hip. You want to stay inside out on the running back. All right. If he should wheel up, you're going to wheel with him, okay? Unless we can maintain body contact, which here we're leaning into him, continue to lean into him the whole way through, find a football, use both hands, and come up and make the play. Okay, again, same thing. We want to stay inside out. As he wheels, we're going to wheel, all right? I'd like to see him press downhill to the hip, continue to close as it wheels. I'm going to wheel up with it, okay? As he starts to look, if I cannot lean, if I cannot get body-to-body contact, and that doesn't mean elbow-to-body, that means body-to-body contact, I do not want to look, all right? I want to be able to play through the hands. As he tries to catch it, I will strip, okay? Because right as we look, that's, again, you can see that's where we start to receive separation from the receiver. Okay, again, we get over top, the tight end releases. We want to be outside low shoulder. All right, he just wants to let him go and just be, we would say outside on top, he wants to be outside just a little bit more underneath. So as this thing tries to break back inside of him, it's going to be awfully hard for him to throw him by and then come on that side of him. We want him to make him go up and around us, so we're between him and the quarterback. All right, in which case he would not be able to break and catch the football. All right, again, he's coming down now. He's coming through the line of scrimmage. Whether I'm outside leverage or whether I'm inside leverage, basically we want to catch his outside. Okay, we want to catch his leverage side, whatever leverage we are. We want to turn into right here past defenders. We want to put our hands on him, but we don't want to push him away from us. We want to absorb him into our body, okay? Because the moment we push him away right here, there's separation that occurs, and we don't want separation to happen. We want to absorb him into our body, pull him into us. As he tries to pull away, he'll pull us with him. We don't want to hold him naturally, but we don't want him to be able to, we don't want to push him away from us and now have to be able to run him down. And then the last one again is, you could see the mistake that 50 makes right here. He's going, not only is he not staying inside out on the receiver, forcing it to go either outside or up the field, he's trying to stay over top of it and even losing ground, giving the receiver more room to work. He's going to receiver puts a foot in the ground. Now 50 is able to put a foot in the ground and come back, but it'd make it a lot easier if he would be pressing downhill to his hip, and now he's come back. He'd collision it right now, and he'd be able to make the play a lot easier. Now in one-on-one, he knows what's going on. In a game situation, we'd overrun that, they'd catch the ball, and it'd be problems. It'd be problems for us. So again, it's very important that you press the hip, take away one of the goes, okay, make it go outside or up the field. Don't let it come back inside. If it comes back inside of us, it should be a collision right into us if we're pressing the hip the way we want to. Okay, the next phase, we just talked about being able to cover one-on-one. Now we just put the tight end and receivers in there, so we're able to teach the concepts of our man-free coverage in this. And it could be any coverage that you're playing, whether it be man-free, whether it be some of your zone coverages. You're just isolating the linebackers, and in this situation, since it's a man-free coverage, we bring our safety down to play in the 8-man front. Okay, and the different route combinations that you will see. The Sam linebacker has the tight end. He's got a man-to-man. He will take him unless he gets somebody call him off. In this situation, the safety calls him off. Once he calls him off, he becomes the guy that's in the hole over top of the ball reading the quarterback. The linebacker to the left, he has the running back. He wants to clear the tight end, and here he wants to get downhill. He does not want to be in a position where he's outside in, because that thing will dip outside. It'll dip underneath him and climb outside. He'll have to rotate his hips and try to catch up to the football. He wants to come downhill, make sure that he gets to the inside hip of this running back, okay, and play inside out, forcing it to go either outside or wheel up the field. He does not want it to be able to come back underneath him, okay? And then the will linebacker, the middle linebacker in this situation, he is coming down. He has the tailback, and when we are in our man-free coverage, we're going to come downhill. We're going to blitz, and when they block us, we're going to put our hands on them and cover him that way. If he would release, we could either continue to blitz and have the whole player take him, or we could put our hands on him and run through him, run him back to the quarterback. All right. So again, we're looking for the different combinations in which we could see. And now this one, the tight end goes vertical. We want to be low, shoulder, outside. We know we're gonna get some inside help with the whole player. As he breaks, we need to be able to read the hips, and we want to come break underneath him. Okay. The Mike linebacker, again, wants to press downhill. Once he's in this position, he wants to press to the hip downhill and get on that hip position, okay, to cover him. Okay, we want to make that ball be thrown to the running back's outside. Okay, he wants to be in this position right here, way back, a little bit further back in the whole route. Now he's only able to go out, or he's only to wheel up, and we're able to take it. If he's able to put a foot in the ground and come back inside, we'll overrun it, and we won't be able to play the route. So again, we're able to take the one-on-one that we've just did with the one-on-one drill we just did with the tight ends and running backs, and now we're able to apply it with the three guys we're using right now, with an underscale drill. And again, you could do that in any one of your coverages. Work on just a half, or isolate the sides that you want, or isolate the portion of the coverage that you want to do. The last drill that I'd like to talk about that I think it's important if you blitz any linebackers or secondary, you've got to give them at least a base on how to rush a passer on a running back. The first thing that we talk about is we want to start out with a bull rush. And basically what we want to do is just put his helmet underneath his chin, all right, and keep our hands inside, and we just want to explode through and drive him back to the quarterback. Off of this rush, we are going to set up all the next rushes that we do. And again, you only have so much time to teach so many rushes. This is a base and easy way to set the first one up. So as you come and you bull rush him and drive him back to the quarterback, the next time the guy is going to dig in, and now you could set up your rip and swim to the side, either side that you're going. What we talk about, we tack a half a guy, and as this guy comes down, he wants to step. His right foot here should step to his midline. It gets down to his inside step, which now it gets to his inside foot. So now, when he now takes a step with his left foot to clear, all right, he's going sideways, and it's very difficult. The running back does not redirect real well, and we're able to beat him. But if he could head and shoulder fake to the inside and step to the midline, now his left foot would get outside and up the field a little bit more. Then on his third step, his rip or swim, he'd be by him and to the quarterback, which he's able to do in this situation. But again, it's set up off of the swim. Here goes the same thing. Now we're going to attack them the other way. All right, we're going to rip inside. All right, again, what we're looking to do is we don't want to take a step. We want to take that head and shoulder fake step to his midline, so the next step is able to get up the field and get clear, and then the third step would be able to get by him to hip and get by him, and would be able to finish to the quarterback. In this situation, the linebacker rips. He's not able to get by, so he wants to convert it into a power rush and now drive him back to the quarterback. I hope this is able to help you with some of the ways that we teach our linebackers how to read, the different progressions we use to get them to expand their vision on the run reads, and the progression that we do for our man-to-man coverage and our zone coverages. Hopefully this is able to help you. Thanks very much.